Welcome to another enlightening edition of the Startup Spotlight, the show where innovation meets opportunity and bold ideas take the center stage. My name is Glory Brown, and today we're diving into a very powerful conversation that's reshaping the business, think, and act in uncertain times. And our focus for today is leveraging AI-driven event intelligence to navigate uncertainty and drive business growth. And to help us unpack all of these, I'm joined by Chaste Inegbedion, who is the head of happiness at Concord App, where it transforms high-stakes events into predictable business outcomes through intelligent storytelling and product operations. Mr. Chaste Inegbedion, it's a great pleasure to have you join us on the Startup Spotlight today.
Thank you so much, Glory, for having me, and this conversation is timely.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's jump right into the first question for today. How would you define AI-powered event intelligence in the context of today's volatile global business environment?
Sure. I would only start by reiterating that you have to explain the context first. Early stage founders and executives from Africa and the diaspora, they spend an average of 15,000 annually and hundreds of hours attending global conferences like the UN General Assembly that would happen in New York, the World Economic Forum that happens in Davos, the Conference of Parties, which is the climate change conference that would happen in Brazil this year, and also the consumer electronics shows. And I will tell you, despite this massive investment of time and capital, 78% of this professional report that majority of their relationship from this event failed to convert into tangible business outcome. They are citing a lack of strategic alignment, a bunch of selfies being taken, inefficient follow-up, and a reliance on chance encounters rather than engineered connections. The current system is like a lottery where only a few win, and the vast majority lead with handshake instead of strategic partnership of capital. So for our audience, AI-powered intelligence is the key to turning chaos into clarity. It's a smart system that helps you find the signal. Beyond those conversations, how do you turn those relationships into revenue? And the signal and the noise of global events, from new trade policies to major conferences, you're leaving from one Lagos airport to a conference in New York and Paris. It's about leveraging technology, not just to attend events, but to identify critical opportunities. And Concord App is like an AI-powered intelligence that is laid out for this professional event. We use large language models and proprietary algorithms to ingest unstructured data from global events, including attending lists. So you're a speaker, you want to be able to understand your speaker topics. There's a policy brief, and we cross-reference it with a user company profile and strategic objectives. So our system identifies and signals like high leverage opportunities in real time. So who are you meeting at this conference? Will Glory be attending from BusinessDay? Will I be meeting social person from First Bank? They help the user form a specific action plan. It will recommend who to meet, what to discuss, and how to frame the conversation to maximize strategic alignment and drive tangible outcomes, like either you're securing a partnership, you're attracting an investment, or you're identifying a new market entry point.
Thank you so much for that insight. The next question I have for you says, why is the event intelligence becoming increasingly critical for businesses navigating uncertainty, especially ahead of the global milestone like the UNGA 80?
So the UN General Assembly in its 80th anniversary are not just events. It's like a market of faith. There are different side events that happen during that period, from one event company hosting one event to the numbers of people coming to New York at that time just to product connections. But they are inflection point for policies and capital. Think about a Nigerian fintech founder who wants to attract investment from a European fund or partner with the UN agency. AI event intelligence is the tool that help them understand who is in the room at the UN Global Compact side event, who would I meet at the UN headquarters, who will I meet at other side event that is happening during that period. Maybe it's the Fast Company Innovation Festival, or there's several other conferences that organizes even happy hours. How do you identify the specific problem that will be discussed beyond the agendas that they share, and how their solution fit perfectly with what you want to be able to accomplish. So it helps us move beyond just showing up to proactively form the right connections and strategic alliances.
How can AI transform unpredictable chaotic events into actionable insights that support business stability and growth in this present time?
So AI has gone beyond just ChatGPT. Now there's the era of multiple agents. The understanding is that it helps us do two things. It helps us signal, and it also helps us form. It signals when a specific event, say a new policy on climate adaptation in Africa, or a major humanitarian initiative, or what my people will say, like tech founders will say, how do I close a deal? It's relevant to your business because it helps you form a response. For example, a young entrepreneur at a side event might notice that a European diplomat is talking about the need for local sustainable energy solutions. The AI system can signal this conversation, then help the entrepreneur form a follow-up that references the specific discussion point, connecting the diplomat's need to the entrepreneurial solution. It turns a chaotic conversation from the first time you enter into the room to a clear roadmap for action. An example can be like, I am Chaste from Concord App. I build this app. I'm looking for so person to be able to identify with. And it helps you reference those pointers and help you secure those conversations.
From your bio, we learned that you're the head of happiness with the Concord app. Can you walk us through how this app is being connected to AI, external events, to internal business decisions, specifically in driving relationships into revenue?
Sure. Like I mentioned, why even the title of the head of happiness is like everybody wants to go to an event to connect. A signal, an array of like what will happiness turn out for me if I have spent $1,000 on flights. Maybe I'm paying a conference ticket of over about $750. Like there's a large investment that you put into place, hotel and all. Why we're doing this with Concord App is we want to take you right from your room when you start planning for this event. Where can you get the best on hotel deals, either as an individual who's attending or you're going to represent your organizations. If you go on TikTok right now, there's the creator economy is also very big right now, where people will share with you their experiences of attending certain conferences. It helps you predict even the conferences to attend. Even as a first-time attendee, you understand, okay, what are the outfits they wear? Who are the kind of people that I meet? How large is such conferences? How can I broker such conversation? So from that inception of purchasing your conference ticket to securing your hotel and flight to understanding those who are in the room. So if I give you an example for the World Bank IMF meeting, you get to see a large number of people attending as delegates. If possible, you can search them on LinkedIn, and a lot of these people do not use those conversations. How about we build a mobile app which helps you identify this person? You can connect with them real time by sending a message, or totally when you meet them in person, you capture their information. You take a picture to serve as a reminder. You run through the idea of saying, oh, hi, my name is Chase. I'm from Concord App. I met you at XYZ event, and I do love to follow up on this. Another major impact is the intelligence matching. It helps you also identify. So if I work in the product management space, I want to be able to identify with other product managers attending same conference. If I'm a policy director, I want to be able to identify policy makers. I want to be able to identify those who are also in the media. Maybe I can meet lovely Glory at such events and say, okay, I have a story to share. What do I need? It just helps you to have a done for you service where you go from an handshake into turning relationship into revenue.
Thank you so much. What type of data signals or external events are mostly common monitored to trigger business action using AI systems, most especially when you're starting up?
Sure. Like I said, for someone who had come from another tech startup, I work as chief period officer at Cloud, which was around menstrual health and conversation. So one of the true picture of me, like it's a personal story that has me going to several conferences. Like even this year alone, I've been to the Consumer Electronics Show, which is another mecca of sort, Google Cloud Nest, and a couple of other events that are planned out for this month of August. One thing I noticed that we are monitoring a wide range of signals that are relevant to our audience, which are our executives who are either going there to secure a new job or going to build business connections. What are the other relevance to the humanitarian space? So this could include public announcement from the African Union, for example, or new funding rounds for African startups or global startups, diaspora investment trends and regulatory changes in markets like Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa. What is it like in being at the World Bank annual IMF meeting and I'm meeting the CBN governor and also the Minister of Finance and projecting to letting them know that technology can create a better options in how they drive narrative to supporting African fintech founders. You're also signaling leadership changes at partner organizations, shift in consumer sentiment on platforms like X. X is a go-to platform where a lot of people just have their business ideas shared and people can come in. I know of pitch competitions that is already happening on all this social media platform. Like you're going on LinkedIn right now. It has gone beyond the reference of seeking for jobs to now people being able to create videos that connect with a large number of people. A major infrastructure project announcement, it gives you a chance to be able to see, okay, what is happening in your locality, in areas that you need to increase your business outcome. So it's a good time for these signals that are triggering the ecosystem and that are helping people drive business growth.
How can organizations move from reactive decision making to predictive strategy using AI event intelligence? How can they move from this stage to another?
That is a very nice, great question because truly, reactive decision making is like trying to navigate a Boston, Lagos market by only looking at your feet. Predictive strategy enabled by AI is like having a co-pilot that can see around every corner. And we're not just talking Gemini, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and all the other AI tools that exist. We're talking about how it analyzes historical data, current trends, event to future outcome. For example, it could predict regions in Europe which would be most respective to an African-made consumer goods. Like if you're selling an Africa Ankara, for example, you want to be able to know, okay, what target market that will take on that. You're also able to check it out based on combination of cultural and economic signals. It allowed businesses to allocate resources that are strategically before the competition even notice the opportunity. Like, for example, if you're going for the World Economic Forum in Davos, as much as it's very elitist and all, you want to be able to identify who you're going to come across with and how you're going to get prepared for such events.
Now, in what ways can AI help businesses identify relationship opportunities, whether with clients, with partners, or marketers amid complex or disruptive events? How can AI help them to identify different relationship opportunity, be it with client, be it with partner or marketers?
Sure. Like I said, AI is a master at finding patterns in chaos. When a disruptive event happens, for example, say a new visa policy is announced, like if you've been hearing about the current recent US bond of paying a certain amount just to be like a certain criteria for staying in the country, for example. You also want to be able to identify which of your diaspora partners are most impacted and which clients are most vulnerable. So the ways you would create, for example, you're building an MVP. There are tools right now like Lovable that can help you create no-code tools. How do you identify those things ASAP? It can then suggest a proactive outreach strategy. So are you using social media channels to get into the right consumers? What do you tell them differently? Are you using storytelling? It also helps you spot new opportunities like identifying emerging markets in the United States, for example. that are now a better fit for your product because of a shifting global landscape. If you hear the story of Money Point and Flutterwaves, these are already unicorn in that space. It also helps us to see the future of connecting those dots in a way that is possible for a human to do alone. So you don't even need to hire multiple staffs, but you want to be able to identify those in the location you're trying to target and who can help you and who can support you to get there. The most interesting thing with the recent launch and even ChatGPT of multiple agents, you can now set up prompt engineering that lets you say, oh, I will want you to act as my CEO. And these are the roles that I expected of you. I would like you to act as my head of sales. And this is the expectations I need from you. I want you to act as my social media promoter. And these are your expectations. So you have multiple agents who are helping you to do your work effectively.
Now, how should businesses integrate AI-driven event intelligence into their CRM, into their marketing, and also their sales workflows?
So integration should be seamless and it should be able to serve your team. So it's not just about fulfilling subscriptions on CRMs and workflows without getting results. The AI should sit as a layer on top of your existing tool. So if you're using HubSpot, for example, or you're using MailChimp to send messages to your direct consumers, let's say, for example, for a sales team focused on a UN Global Compact partners, it should push actionables directly into their CRM. For a marketing team, it should inform content strategy by identifying trending topics and key narrative that resonate with that specific audience. For example, if the system signals a major new partnership for a competitor, the marketing team can immediately create a counter narrative and a campaign to highlight their own competitive advantage. If you're also looking at making sure at least the sales workflow is for you to be able to give out free services, for example, to be able to generate more audience belief in whatever you're articulating, just making sure that those tools are relevant to your tax, whether you're using an HubSpot, a MailChimp, or you're using Apollo that helps you just identify the type of consumers that you want to reach and how best to reach them.
Now, let's talk about the key considerations. What are the key considerations for aligning AI event insight with business KPIs and growth objectives?
Sure. The key is to start with business KPIs and work backwards. So if for your key indicators, you want to be able to say, okay, what do you want to be able to say? For example, do you want to make $100,000 before the end of the year? And you want to work it backward. Like, don't just implement AI for the sake of it. Ask, what are our core growth objectives? Is it a market share in a specific region? Are you increasing revenue from a diaspora client? Are you securing a strategic partnership with a global NGO? Or are you looking at securing media deals? So you want to appear in certain media platforms. Then configure the AI to specifically track the signals and events that impact those KPIs. So for example, I can't spend so much on attending a media company derived event. So for example, a founder reached out to me like, I want to go for Fast Company Innovation Festival in New York. Why should I go for this? Because if I'm paying so much for the tickets, what benefit will it give it to me? And I'm like, even from the human standpoint, you're looking at if it's a media company, you want to be able to get their attention. If you can't even afford to get a booth to exhibit your product, if you're a digital product, you want to be able to onboard customers immediately. So it's a way to be able to specifically track those events that will help you with your KPIs. The AI should not be a separate function. It should be a direct to achieving your business goals.
What industries or sectors do you think will see the most immediate return of investment from event intelligence platforms in the next, let's say, 2 to 3 years? What sector do you think will see the most of return of investment from these event intelligence platforms?
From someone like myself who has come from the femtech and health tech experience, I believe we will see the most immediate return on investment in financial services, in professional services, Like right now, you go on TikTok, somebody's telling you how I can help you go from $0 to $100,000, how I sell digital products to do X, Y, Z. And like I said, even the creative economic space is growing bigger with this space, whereby you see certain influencers from Instagram to LinkedIn to TikTok, you know. So these industries operate on complex interconnected systems where a single event can have a massive ripple effect. Like in Africa and the diaspora, we see it in the tech sector where agile startups are using this to leapfrog established players by being faster and more strategic. One of the iconic is to see what ways are you able to use those events. So let's say, for example, a Gate Foundation is looking at supporting women-based provisions like in the healthcare space. So how do you tailor to see yourself like targeting that NGO funding to seeing how much more you can use AI in telling your stories, your accomplishment, and securing a grant with such organizations.
Let's look at some of the challenges involved in implementing AI-powered decision systems. What are some of the limitations or some of the ethical challenges involved when implementing AI-powered decision systems?
So a lot of concerns that I've come across is data privacy. So even for in the health space, you'll be talking about the HIPAA laws. In certain geography, you're also talking about the GDPR, the bias in algorithms and the risks of over-automation. We have to be mindful that data we use is ethical and respect privacies. Recently, the founder of Flow, has such accusation of them sharing data with Meta, which caused a lot of big chaos for them. The algorithm must be built and monitored to ensure that they don't perpetuate existing biases against certain regions or demographics. It's like on YouTube also, they'll tell you, and there are certain music videos that are not appropriate in certain regions, and they will block it automatically. It's the same way where you're also being able to remember that AI is a tool and not a replacement for human judgment. So the human element with its empathy and strategic foresight is what gives technology its true purpose.
As we look ahead of the UNGA, ATS, and other major global events, what advice would you give to business leaders hoping to turn uncertainty into strategic growth through AI-driven insights?
My advice is simple. Start small, but start now. For too long, we have relied on handshakes and chance meetings to build our businesses, not for profit, or if we work in a company. We should not wait for a perfect system. We should begin by identifying one critical business objective, such as finding a key partner in the diaspora, or you're entering a new market in Europe or in Asia. You want to be able to use AI to specifically help you with that one objective. The insights you gain from that single use case will demonstrate the power of the technology. For our audience, this is about building a new competitive advantage, one that allows them to move faster, be more strategic, and build a more stable and prosperous future. The future belongs to those who don't just participate in the events, but actively engineer the outcome they desire. So you are moving beyond taking that selfies to building that relationship. And if you're the shy type, AI can also help you do that work.
She said, if you must start, start now. Thank you so much, Chaste Inegbedion, for your honest insight on this topic. And that brings us to the end of another thought-provoking episode of Startup Spotlight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Chaste Inegbedion, for joining us on the Startup Spotlight today. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Gloria, and the team. Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of another thought-provoking episode of Startup Spotlight. Today, we explored how AI-driven event intelligence is reshaping how businesses anticipate change, manage risk, and unlock new opportunities, even in uncertain times. A big thank you to our guests for sharing such valuable insight. And to our viewers and listeners, remember the future belongs to those who are not just reactive, but proactive. And with tools like AI, your business doesn't just survive, it can what? thrive. My name is Glory Brown. I'll see you next time on Startup Spotlight. Keep watching Business Day Television.